Okay, shall we? Yeah, I think we should start.
Okay. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh and very good afternoon. Welcome to the Tech Talk Series 1, Digitalize Your Workforce via Robotic Process Automation. Thank you for sparing your time and joining us today. The event is organized in collaboration between Malaysia Productivity Corporation, MPC, National Tech Association of Malaysia, PIKOM, Digital Productivity Nexus, DPN, and Professional Services Productivity Nexus, PSPN. This webinar is a spin-off which is organized in conjunction of the launching of Digital Solution Directory that is going to be held on 23rd November 2021, which is next week. The directory is a project which is also involve industry players from professional services, retail and F&B, and also tourism subsector. This pilot project is going to list more than 100 digital solution providers that cover more than 15 services solutions. And then we are very fortunate today because we have Mr. Robin Hu, the CEO of Orange Fin Asia. Orange Fin Asia is also one of the more than 100 companies that is going to be participating in the e-directory. I will let our moderator and speaker to discuss more on the companies and the solution that they are provided. So without further ado, I would like to invite technologists in Senior Chu Kok Beng, champions of Professional Services Productivity Nexus, to deliver his welcoming remarks. Please, TS Chu.
Thank you very much, Encik Aiman. Selamat petang and good afternoon to everybody. Maybe happy afternoon. I'm Mr. Robin Hu, Chief Executive Officer of Orange Fin Asia, shall be the distinguished speaker for today. Then we have none other than Mr. Justin Joseph, who will be the moderator. So he's from PIKOM, I believe. So this is the joint effort between the Professional Services Nexus and also the Digital Nexus. So ladies and gentlemen, good afternoon again. Warm welcome to all our guests to the first of the Tech Talk series entitled Digitalize Your Workforce by Robotic Process Automation. I'm delighted to be here with every one of you. And I think that the robotics is really going our way. So for those who are present, I think you will benefit a lot from this talk. My appreciation again to Mr. Robin Hu, our speaker for the day, and Mr. Justin Joseph, moderator, for spending your time with us to spare your thoughts and insight on the topic of the webinar. I look forward to joining and listening to the deliberation, which I'm sure will also benefit too. Thank you for the Malaysian Productivity Corporation, represented by J. Aiman today, for endlessly rendering and facilitating and supporting the quest to boost productivity growth of the professional side, professional services and other sectors. This month in particular, I applaud MPC's effort in organizing good regulatory practice, GRP, something which has been hindering us for many months, many years, to increase awareness and understanding on the impact of quality regulation on business via regulatory reform efforts. I believe reducing unnecessary regulatory burdens on businesses through good regulatory practice facilitate firms' productivity, performance, and profitability. I am sure the professional services fraternities will benefit from this initiative tremendously. Ladies and gentlemen, on technology and digitization, I share the same sentiment with my MPC colleagues and my PSPN, National Governing Board, that these elements are pertinent catalysts to productive growth. sluggish digital adoption was a pre-pandemic issue and made worse by the repercussions of the crisis. Thus, the situation calls for amplified efforts to accelerate digital transformation by business across sectors. Technology and digitization remain as a constant, resilient features amidst the changing landscape due to COVID-19. The features must be maximized by businesses to remain productive and relevant in the marketplace. Malaysia Productivity Blueprint has identified driving digital and digitalization and innovation as one of the strategic thrusts to increase productivity. By strengthening the readiness of enterprises to effectively adopt and exploit technology and digital advantage, the health and economic crisis we are facing somehow presents room for opportunities, innovation, and improvements. So in every crisis, there are opportunities. The present crisis is the real big one, so opportunities are also real big. Modernize and digitize professional services, increase efficiency, and breed innovation. The 12th Malaysia Plan emphasized the fact that technological innovations are changing the way businesses operate and deliver services. Professional services need to move up the value chain. In ensuring continuous economic recovery, professional services should focus on accelerating high value-added activities and adapting technological changes to improve labor productivity. Today's technical talk is apt as it shall deliberate on the robotic process and automation, which will definitely facilitate professional services business to gain competitive advantage and improve productivity growth. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, I would like to join all of you to hear more from our expert, Justin, Robin, and also our moderator, how we can benefit from the technology and digitization. So I'm sure you'll have a productive session ahead, and please raise all your questions and post it to us so that we can have a very interesting, collaborative, interactive session after the presentation by Robin. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you, TS2, for your insightful speech and welcoming remarks. Let me play teaser for the launching of the Digital Solution Directory. Enjoy the video. Okay, thank you. Now, without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Justin Joseph Anthony, Executive Director of PIKOM, to moderate the. Please, Mr. Justin, over to you.
Thank you, Aiman. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, TS2, for your opening address, and also thanks to MPC for inviting us to on this collaboration with PIKOM, right? And together with all the other parties concerned, the Digital Productivity Nexus, PSPN, Productivity Nexus, and Tourism Productivity Nexus, right? So for this Tech Talk Series 1, and we are going to speak about digitalize your workforce via robotic process automation. That's the topic of the session for today. But before I do proceed with that session, just let me give you a quick introduction of, for those of you who are here for the first time. PIKOM is the National Tech Association of Malaysia. We have been around since 1986, and most of you would have known us because of the PC Fair. Many of you will definitely would have purchased any items or computers, any accessories during the PC Fair days, right? Now, things are changing. Transformation has taken place. You know, the country is focusing on digital Malaysia, and things have to move on, right? So over the last 5 years, we have actually stopped, discontinued with the PC Fair, and now we're going to Tech Fair, right? The PIKOM Tech Fair is ongoing now, and we've already gone in e-commerce. So it's no longer a physical place that we actually will have to do. So if PIKOM is transforming and the country is transforming, transformation has to take place almost in every aspect of our life. And especially now, when the COVID-19 has impacted many of us, it has affected our individual lives, it has affected corporations as well, in terms of how they operate. So it has led to digital transformation, right? With over 1,000 members that we have in the association, right? They come from the tech products and also services, which commands about 80% of businesses in Malaysia. So we are also focusing on 6 areas in terms of the form of chapters, which we look at OM, which is Outsourcing Malaysia, which we focus on global business services, right? The shared services and outsourcing companies. We also work with the CIO chapter, the cybersecurity chapter. We have the PIKOM Venture Investment chapter, and now the latest is the Women in Tech chapter, right? So if you wish to participate in any one of these programs, you please be willing to contact me. I'll be happy to discuss with you further. So because these chapters actually help to improve businesses, to give a viable business climate for members as well as for the industry, all right? So now coming back, just a little bit of what we do from PIKOM, and also my role is as an industry development director, executive director, covering all these areas which I've just mentioned to you. So today we have, of course, Robin Hu, the CEO of Origin Asia, who will actually be talking to you on the topic of today, which is digitalize your workforce via robotic process automation. And you know what? Every one of us are impacted in many ways because of the current pandemic. It has sort of accelerated that we have to move fast, right? So let's hear it from Robin Hu. He will speak to you and share with you some of the solutions and also some thought leadership aspects of it. And moving forward, we will have a Q&A session. So please feel free to drop in your questions in the Q&A box as and when the presentation is going on. So I will just pick up the questions and probably raise it up later today. Okay. So ladies and gentlemen, with that, I pass you on to Robin Hu. Over to you, Robin.
Hey, thanks, Justin. Thanks, Mr. Koo. Thanks, Aiman. Hey, good afternoon, everybody. Robin here. So I will be spending the next 20 minutes talking about robotic process automation and a little bit on the, I hope everybody can see my screen.
Yes, can.
Okay. So I think now it's almost impossible to stay away from robots, right? There are robots everywhere, whether it's in your car that you say Hi Proton, something like a software robot, or Hi Siri, Hi Proton, Hi Alexa, and then even in Windows you have Cortana. So software robots is everywhere. Now, before software robots, there were basically hardware robots, those that sit in the production line. In about 10, 20 years ago, everybody is trying to automate their production line. Just like now, if you are trying to build a car, Nobody does that anymore using hand, right? The whole manufacturing plant is done by robots, and maybe controlled by 20, 30 people, that's it, with a production capacity of that can supply global. So moving forward, actually, there is no way you can run away from robots. So it's whether it is a hardware robot or a software robot. Now, hardware robot, there's a lot of R&D into that. We are focusing on software robots, which is robotic companion that actually can work for you within the computer environment. Now, coming to software robots, there are a few types. So of course, you have the Siri, which is very simple, which is on your iPhone, and also Alexa, that you can ask it to find out what is the weather and stuff like that. Those are good as your personal assistant to schedule meeting for you, or to get you the weather forecast, to help you to call somebody. So those are the things that are basically a little bit of software robots. But if you look at the industry, you need to do more than that, right? For it to be really helpful, it has to be doing more than that. So things that are, if you look at most of the things that are done by a company, mostly the company exists because of the business that they are in. And most of the things that they do, 60 to 80% are actually very repetitive. If you are talking about logistic company, they do airway bill, they do what do you call that, booking of shipping confirmation and stuff like that. Those are very common, and then those are repetitive. And then when you talk about banks, then they have loan application, customer onboarding. Then you have any other company that is specializing in doing a certain thing is actually quite repetitive. And because it's repetitive, sometimes it's very mundane and laborious. So what are the things that are suitable for software robots? First one is operation that are highly human dependent. Now, as much as for the past 40 years, we have been automating systems from ERP to CRM to what we call HRM to all kind of systems that you automate. Those are very specialized systems that you automate. You still need people to operate those systems. So the more system you handle, you implement, the more people you actually use to operate those systems, or one person need to operate multiple systems. So this is where the robotic process automation can help. Now, if you look at most of the tasks that you do, 60 to 80% are repeatable even in your daily operation. And a lot of things are mundane you need to do. If you don't do, it will hold up the whole production line, hold up your whole business. And some of the things are very simple, but even a simple error will make recovery very difficult. So those are the things that are also very suitable for software robots. Of course, lastly, tasks that are done with multiple IT systems. So what's the advantage of using software robots? On our side, we have whatever that you see later, this is a homegrown application. Everything is done in Malaysia. Orange Fin Asia and Orange Workforce is actually a Malaysian product. We are proudly Malaysian. And I always tell people we should look at Malaysian Canggih, not just Malaysian Boleh, but Malaysian Canggih. And that's our little contribution on that. So if you look at that, to teach the robot, there's no need for, what do you call that, for coding, basically just drag and drop. There's not, to implement software robotic is not invasive. That means the robot actually use your solution. You don't have to change. So it's not like you want to use software robots, you must upgrade your system. No, it use back your own system. And then it's agile by size. So it's just like having an employee. You teach the employee to do certain thing, it will do it for you. So you don't have to wait 3 months or 6 months to get the benefit. Within a week, you can get benefit. And you train the robot little by little, and it will get better, and it will assimilate itself into your operations. And because it's Malaysian made, we are trying to make it low cost. Before the webinar, we were talking about trying to, Mr. Chu was saying that trying to make sure that Malaysian get the benefit and then ASEAN get the benefit. I think that's what we are doing. We are trying to make sure that this solution is focusing to make sure all the Malaysian SME can help them in terms of productivity, and also can get out of ASEAN to make ASEAN a 650 million people benefit out of it. And whatever you get the robot to do is actually very visible. Whatever the robot do is actually, later I will show you. And of course, if you use the robot to do it, the robot don't deviate from their path. So it's actually very, in terms of improved compliance, in terms of ISO and stuff like that. So technically what we are trying to replace is a human being operating the system, whether operating ERP system, CRM system, SRM, SCM, HRM, accounting system, all operated by the robot without enhancement to the robot. So the robot run 24/7 is very cost effective. There's no need to increase the increment and stuff like that. Number 3 and number 4 is very important. For the robot to be useful to anyone, it must run multiple platforms. That means cannot be only runs or only work for Windows application or stuff like that. It must work across multiple platforms. And it must also work with your existing system. You don't need to enhance your existing system. So it's mimicking an employee. So it's just like an employee that you hire that don't ever leave you and also don't need to do a lot of employee, what you call benefit and stuff like that. So a little bit of our customers. We started in year 2018. We currently have about 100 customers and about 6 banks that is working with us. And whatever I show you on this slide are all Malaysian company, right? Are all Malaysian company. We haven't, so we are trying to benefit all the Malaysian SME and Malaysian banks and stuff like that. So the good thing, as part of the journey, when we talk to our customer as they implement the system, we send out questionnaire and ask them to reply. 96% of them claim they have improvement in productivity, and very right to the point with the Malaysian Productivity Council. So robotic actually helps in terms of increasing your productivity. 93% claims they improve in compliance, 89% claims they have improvement in reducing costs, and 88% claim improvement in management information. So imagine you have a person, an 18-year-old person that works for you, and you ask him to do your sales report and submit to you every Friday, and it will diligently do it. So you get the information faster, cross-platform and faster. So just a little bit about Orange Fin Asia. We founded in 2018. Everything is in Malaysia. We are an MSC status company focused on R&D in robotic and AI. So if you look at 2018-19, the first 3 company we have, customer we have actually with the banks. So the banks actually spearhead this automation in terms of using robots to actually replace human operation. That helps them in terms of saving a lot of things. So later I will explain what we do with the banks also. Now, what is the advantage of working with a Malaysian company? Of course, we are 100% Malaysian. We are also, you get the local global technology also. We are the principal. Support center is Malaysia. We speak Malay. We also speak English. We also follow your same time zone. Owner and management team is all in Malaysia. Development center in Malaysia. Everything is in Malaysia. Okay, so we make sure we are creating a what do you call a high-tech product and also high-tech economy in Malaysia. Now, what exactly that we mean when we are looking at robotics? So let me show you. So all the video that you are seeing now is actually done by robots. So the first one is what we call as-is to as-is automation. You have an Excel, the robot will run the Excel for you, data collection. So this is done in a bank. They spend about 2.5 hours every week to actually do data collection. Now, to report to central bank. Now this is done in 6 minutes, okay? So the central bank report are all done by the robots. Next one in the middle, same robot. We are not saying that the robot only do Excel, no. The same robot also do web access. So it is able to go out using web access and client. So the robot is able to do a variety of tasks. Anything, as of now, anything that you can do in the PC, the robot can do for you, including green screen. So if you are using Unix, if you are using AS400, no problem. I know a lot of SME or a lot of company also use Unix systems. The robot also can operate for you, no issue. It can run without any modifications. So let me show you some example. This is actually running a report. So if you have a report that you need to run, the robot can run for you. This is actually running Crystal report. So again, no change. If you get the human to do it, robot can do it, no problem. This is actually running. So no customization, no changes. The robot just take over and run. After taking the report, isn't it nice the robot can run and email it to you? Same thing. This is also done by the robot. The robot will take the report or take whatever and email to you. Can do marketing campaign and stuff like that. using email. If you don't like Outlook, you can use Google Mail, you can use what we call that, web mail. It's up to you. You can train the robot to do almost everything that can be done on the PC. After that, you can also get the robot to send WhatsApp to you. So again, these are the things that one single robot can do. They can everything of just like replacing an 18-year-old person. So we are giving you an 18-year-old employee to work for you. As long as you can do it on a PC, you can actually do it. So that's what robotic process automation, or what we call software robots, can help you end to end. So not just sending email, and also send WhatsApp to remind you and stuff like that. These are all the things that you can do. And it doesn't violate any security. The bank use it is because you still have user ID password. It still go through the OS. It doesn't go anything backdoor. This is not a virus. This is actually just mimicking an employee doing its work. Now, so let me go.
Robin,
Yeah.
while we're moving on to the next slide, there's a question here for you, right?
Yeah.
Now, you mentioned earlier that when you automate these processes, right? So it comes by engaging manpower to run some processes. And now when you automate, so how does an organization actually reallocate this current employee's work scope? Where does he go? I mean, you've moved the entire process, the redundant work is being done by the robots. So where does talent go?
Good question. So you see, if you look at your operation now, you always use your good people to do all this repeatable work. Why? Because they are reliable. They are somebody you can trust. And you use the good people to do things that are things like this that actually not creative for you, right? So what you need to do is to offload this so the robot do it. Now let the creative people do creative work for you. Let the people do marketing research for you. Focus on the product. Focus on the things that are closer to your customer. Do real customer service. So these are the things that you should focus your employee with. So a lot of good employees being bogged down by their daily operation, which is actually not a lot of value to the organization. You get them to do is because they are reliable. So because they are reliable, especially SME, or because they are reliable, you say this one you better do. Don't let other people do, but these are actually not much value because it's repeatable and stuff like that. So what you need to do is to use your existing employee, provide them with tools and also more time to look at creative work, more contribution to the company in terms of customer engagement, product development, real customer experience and stuff like that. But the rest of the activity that is very mundane or whatever, leave it to the robot to do. That's the key value of this. Yeah.
So I'm assuming that Orangefin will be actually guiding or handholding the companies in this transformation that they're going to do in terms of automating the processes, because you'll also need to identify who are those talents that is going to be relocated to another area, right?
Yes. So Orangefin will do two things. One is for area that we are focusing on, we will do like what you say. We will actually help you to identify which of the processes and that can automate. We also work with industry specialists. So for example, logistic. We also work with industry specialists that can also work together with us. So either it's consulting company, I think more like industry specialists. Okay. So we work with industry specialists to work to help that industry to move forward. If you look at the customer base that we have just now, you saw there's a lot of logistic company. There's also a lot of developer. So these are what we work with the industry specialists to actually improve, provide them with guidance to actually how to automate this using robotic process automation. Yeah.
Okay. All right. Great. Go ahead.
Yeah. Okay. So coming back to my presentation. Now, we mentioned that a lot of, we are giving you an 18-year-old a person that can do your work. But main thing is this person might not get sick, right? So if you hire an employee, if the employee is 30% all the time, don't come to work, it's also susah, right? So what we do is, as we work with the banks for the first few project, the bank actually working with the bank allow us to make it very stable. So our robot is actually can self-preserve. It will make sure that it stay alive to work for you. And also, because it is self-preserving, it is running 99.99% uptime. It's actually up all the time. And on the right side, it actually self-aware. It monitors its own memory, network, CPU storage, so that it can continue to stay alive to work for you. Now, the robot will stay alive. The process might die. Process means if you ask him to do a reconciliation, but the recon file isn't there, or if you ask the robot to log on to a website, but the website is not available or ID password expired. So the robot won't die, but the process will have some issues. The robot will communicate to you to say that, hey, this process, I got some issues. I will do other processes before I come back to this one. So that monitoring is done by a mobile monitoring. So you will be given a mobile app that runs on your Android or your iPhone. So you don't have to sit with the robot all the time. So the robot will be able to communicate to you. So for us to do this very well, three things we have to do very well. First is the robot must be able to see very well. So everything on the screen, whether it's image, PDF, whether it's Excel, whether it's all this, the robot can see and can understand and can work on it. And the robot also can think. That means it has some common sense. So an example, that if you have a robot and you ask the physical robot to say, go upstairs to pick up something. And if you need to teach the robot how to go upstairs, then susah, right? So what we do is we also make sure that it can common sense. So when you say, go and open this file, it will know how to open it and get it. So go and read the email. It will know how to open up an email and then read the email. So don't have to teach step by step how to send WhatsApp, email, so there are actually common sense to that. And finally, being able to act on it. So we also understand that there's a lot of, there's a lot of, that's quite new in terms of this area. So we have Orange Fin Academy. We work with HRDF. So all our courses are actually claimable. We also work with PIKOM in terms of training. We also work with SME Corp in terms of training. On the right side, if you look at the slides, we also have a YouTube channel that we disseminate information. So a little bit on the use cases. So if you look at it, we have this logistic company. They use our solution. If you look at the last line, they process more than 1,500 invoices a month, and they use the robot to process the invoice, so no more human being. 10 minutes per invoice, and then they save around 60% of the processing time. Of course, they are not publishing the savings on the human cost and all the other costs that actually are running. But that alone is actually a lot of savings. And what are the processes they actually automate? And if you look at it, the one that I mentioned just now, they actually use the robot to do more things. But account receivable process, invoice statement, account generation, that's also what they do. I want you to pull attention to step number 3, where they use SQL accounting. See, we don't ask them to change their accounting. The robot use the accounting, use back their system, something that they're familiar, something is already running. The robot also do cash receipt and invoice reconciliation. Now, this is a logistic company that help Lazada, Shopee to actually do a lot of shipping. So a lot of small orders nevertheless. So a lot of invoices, a lot of reconciliation, a lot of payment, a lot of making sure that Lazada and Shopee deduct the right price, and all these are all done by the robots. So another process is like employee claim. So if you look at the whole process, the customer use Oracle PeopleSoft. Again, we don't ask them to change Oracle PeopleSoft. The robot operates the Oracle PeopleSoft. Part of the process, if you look at the right side, the application that the robot used to complete the employee claim, including the web, HR, financial system, which is Oracle PeopleSoft, Excel, Outlook, and then WhatsApp. So save 3 hours per day, one robot runs all the time. This is one process. They actually make a lot of process using the robots. Next one is statement of account. So complete end-to-end 427 customer in 44 minutes. If you look at it in the center, that's the benefit of it. Again, 0 human being, all done by the robots. And imagine 427 customer statement of account is done in 44 minutes. The robot still have 23 hours and 16 minutes to go. You still can give the robot more things to do. And what are the things that the robot I used to complete the task. You use remote desktop, Crystal Report, ERP system, and stuff like that. Now, I want to pull your attention to step number 2. It is actually using Crystal Report and also an ERP system to do this. So again, we are not using robot. You don't have to change your process. You don't have to change your system. And of course, this is auto billing. This one is, I want to highlight this because this is an in-house billing system. So using robot, you can also use in-house system. So it's not like, oh, must be Microsoft, must be Oracle, must be SAP. No. The robot can operate any system that you have. So even in-house billing system, in-house accounting system, no issue. Lastly, we mentioned a little bit about what we did with the bank. Our first 3 customers, the bank, so they use it for check clearing. So they save around $1 million US every year for deploying around 25 robots to take over a 24-hour clearing job. They also use it for regulatory reporting. So this is an example of what you can do using the robot for maintain a repeatable task. So again, they save around close to 600,000 US dollar every year on this. Okay, so that's the thing that my guiding in terms of the RPA process. Okay.
All right, thanks, Robin. I think that was quite a detailed presentation. So maybe we have a few minutes here to take a couple of questions. In terms of processes, right? How many processes can the user assign the bots to do in a single day, and can multiple departments share the same bot?
So good question, sir. So we differ from when RPA started 5 years some years ago. They limit the number of robots, how many processes. On our side, you inherit a robot, you get a robot, and you have unlimited process. The process is limited by 24 hours of that day. So you can load about 200, averagely about 250 processes you can do within a 24-hour period. So you can load more, you can load less. If your process is shorter, then you can get the robot to do more process. If the process is longer, then lesser. But averagely, it's around that. Second one is that because the robot I use the word no loyalty. That means it can work. If you have an employee and you hire for finance, you only work for finance. You work for IT, you only work for IT. Now the robot, it can work for multiple cross departments. So in the early morning, finance can use it for data preparation for their AR, AP, GL. And then in the afternoon can run for operation. In the evening can do some sales report, and at night can help IT to do some monitoring. All these are possible, just done by one single robot. Yeah. So very cost effective. 24 hours is a long time for a robot to run, and that allows a lot of processes to be fed to the robot. So unlimited unlimited processes. Yeah.
What about multitasking?
Good question. So as of now, because it is using so the robots runs on the PC. By now, if you look at the video, you most probably know that it either runs on a server. Most banks ask it to run on a server, runs on the VM. And sometimes you can also run on the PC. And because of that, it's actually running it serially. So for example, you can schedule 2 tasks at 2 o'clock in the 3 tasks at 2 o'clock in the morning. It will wake up, do the first one, finish the first one, you do the second one, then the third one. So it's actually still serially doing. So it doesn't do multitask like a human. But even if human do multitask, most probably you need more than one PC to do it. So as of now, it's only doing that. Yeah. But it's still a lot of processes that you can automate. Yeah.
All right. So that is serially done based on when request is made. So it goes based on timestamp. I guess based on timestamp.
Yeah, that's right.
So we have a question here from Yap Sun Ho. What is the robotic process implementation for SME like engineering consulting services? And can the robot take over the design task of an engineer?
I start with the design task first. Unfortunately, design the robot can't do. So the robot, I currently classify the robot as around 18 years old. So basically, can work for you, but doesn't come with high-end qualification. So you don't expect the robot to come with accounting knowledge or supply chain knowledge, but you can train it to do work so that it doesn't leave you. So design, unfortunately, unfortunately, it's still something that requires highly creative work. So I think a person still need to do it. Secondly, go ahead.
Go ahead, sorry.
Beside that, the rest of the process actually robot can do. Now, if you want to get the robot to do archival of the system, making sure that all component is there, all design component is there before the design is finalized, all this can be done by robot. So let's say you have design already, you need to make sure the leads, the connector are all correct and whatever. These are standard connector that for this customer, it has to be there. So you can get the robot to check for you. Because human being might make mistake when they design, they incorporated some of the components that are not what do you call that, sanctioned by the client. So you can actually get the robot to do a quick check on that. And those are the things that can be done quickly with the robots, and also whatever back-end process, even front-end order taking and stuff like that can be done by the robot. So these are all very visible. Now, in terms of how long do you need to train the robot for the robot to be what do you call it, productive? Actually, very fast. So you treat the robot like an 18-year-old. You train the first week to do a simple task, and then the robot, here you go, the robot start running. Then the second week you train him another task. Then here you go, it start running. So you don't have to wait 6 months, 9 months for the robot to start working for you. Even a simple thing like downloading email, read it and archive the thing. These are very simple that you can train within a day. And then the next day, this robot can start working on it already. Yeah.
So this is part of the machine learning process now. Huh?
Correct. That's part of the machine learning process. So you need to train the robot. Yeah.
Okay. So there's some tsunami of questions which is coming in. So in the interest of time, Aiman, you need to tell me if we still have time. But in the meantime, there's a question here from TS. How can the professional services providers utilize such robots? They are micro SMEs with not much processes. Is it affordable for them? I think in terms of cost.
Okay, so we have 3 tier of pricing. I think that one we can talk offline. So if you have enterprise class, we have an enterprise class where definitely for banks, they want DR, they want disaster recovery, they want high availability and stuff like that. Then we also have a pricing for SME where we help the SME to actually adopt. So we are very aggressive in terms of SME pricing. Currently, we are running a program to help the SME to gain the robot in a very cost-effective way. Now, the micro is also something that we are looking at. Okay, I give you an example of micro. Now, the government and also whether it's state or federal government or government agency like to give money for this micro businesses to go onto the e-commerce platform. So they say you go. So they give 5,000, you go onto one platform, and they give a lot of 5,000. So you end up with 10 platforms. If you are a mom and pop shop that do cakes, you ended up managing the 10 platform that go and buy flour to make cake. Okay. Right now, you ended up spending a lot of time downloading the thing, consolidating the demand, and how much flour I need to buy, how much sugar I need to buy, how much icing I need to buy. And you spend a lot of time just managing the e-commerce. So what we have is we have a robot that download from Lazada, download from Shopee, download from Selangor, download from whoever that all this e-commerce, consolidate it and help them to consolidate it and put it into a demand so that they know, oh, today I need to buy so much flour. I need to bake this cake. I need to buy this what do you call it? This icing, whatever. So this is for micro. So we actually allow them to rent the robot month by month. So at a very cheap cost. I can assure you it's a very cheap cost. So the robot out of the box can do this, can do consolidation of all this Lazada la, Shopee la, even from Grab la, stuff like that. Okay. So if the microeconomy took the package and log onto put their item onto all this e-commerce, this robot can out of the box help them to do all this. And they focus on what they like to do, making cakes, rather than spending time doing all this. Now, these are companies that have maybe 3 staff, husband, wife, and the daughter, right? You don't want to burden them with all this work with the e-commerce. And all this e-commerce don't like to talk to each other. They treat each other as enemy. Okay, so that's a little bit on that. So we do have 3 tiers of pricing that can help.
Yeah.
people to
So earlier in your
subscribe.
presentation, you mentioned about this system, the RPA can be integrated to any of the platforms which is available in terms of accounts and all that. So can the robot actually help track vessel status for shipment from overseas and update into an ERP or Excel sheet?
Oh, can. That definitely can. So for example, you have a website that is by the shipper, right? The shipper will tell you the aerial bill number, and they have a website. You get the robot to log in, get the status and update to wherever that you want to update to. So if the robot is accessing two systems, one is the freight system, one is your system, right? Then from your system, it can do more things. It can even tell you that it can run the ERP system and then tell you what's the ETA and stuff like that, because you have a lot of demand consolidation and stuff like that, and just in time kind of thing. All this the robot can do. We actually have manufacturing company that actually, because their customer give them the demand on their website, so they actually have to log into their website, take the information and upload into their ERP. They used to do it once a day, which the customer is not very happy. So now they use the robot, they do it 5 times a day, so that the information are loaded into their ERP on time. And then after that, they finish, they take the information and load it into the customer website, so that they have a full loop. So they use the robot to do it. And these are very mundane and repeatable work. And sometimes people get sick, don't have to work, things don't get updated. And then sometimes people make mistakes. By using the robot, you reduce all this. You get consistency and you get also the accuracy that you need. And the best thing is that you are not limited to IT integration. Correct? You can sign up a customer and the customer say, use my website, and you say yes. You don't have to say, oh, I need IT to come integrate. Give me 3 months, 6 months, then I can start operation. No. The demand, you just put it onto a location. I will pick it up. My robot will upload it into my ERP system. So that actually allow them to react faster to their customer. Yeah.
Thanks, Robin. So in the interest of, because just these last 2 questions I would like to ask you. I mean, basically whatever is being input into a robot, it comes from a human being, right? And we have errors, right? So what is the margin of errors? I mean, you have your system which is implemented, your robot is already all done, you've already done the assessment and so on. What is the margin of error on the robot? And who will be responsible for this?
Okay. So let's look at how you train let's look at how you train an 18-year-old. Then we talk about margin of error. So when I give you an 18-year-old, let's say the claim process. Let's talk about the claim process. You give me so you will train the standard flow, or what I call the happy flow. Happy flow means no error one. So normally happy flow will cover 80% of your work, correct? So there will be exception A, exception B, then exception C. So what you do is your first 3 days or 4 days, you train the robot to do the happy flow. So the robot, after the week, it can do 80% of your work. And the 20% for the time being, you still do manually. Why? And it is still okay because the robot is using your system. You are still in control. You steal your system. It's not like you use the system and then you completely don't understand the system. No, the robot is using. So on Monday to Wednesday, you train the robot on the happy flow. On Thursday, Friday, you train the robot on unhappy flow 1 and unhappy flow 2. Then it can do the standard flow and also the unhappy flow 1 and unhappy flow 2. And then you still tell the robot, if you see anything unusual more than 1 and 2, you just do a screenshot and email the record to me, and I will do myself. As I do, I will investigate, then I will teach you. Right? So this is how you do. So once you are doing that, the accuracy is very high. First of all, you can quickly get the robot to work for you. And then there is almost actually no mistakes. Everything is there. So you train the happy flow, unhappy flow 1, unhappy flow 2. Then the rest you say, please do a screenshot, send to me, and I will then come back and do myself for those unique exceptions. Then I will teach you what to do. Okay. Next thing is that why I say it's almost zero error is because you can see what the robot is doing, right? This is a very unique way of doing acceptance tests. Once you have configured the robot, you see what the robot is doing, right? And then if the robot is doing, sure, correct, right? It's not doing anything behind the scene or it's not like an enhancement to your software that even though you sign off already, you still got things at the back that you don't know what it's doing. Sometimes it will impact other processes. This one doesn't. This one do exactly what you do on it. Lastly is that normally this kind of thing is the person who is responsible, of course, the user is responsible for the process because this is still your process. You are just outsourcing it to an 18-year-old to do for you. So, but configuring the robot, we can do, our partner can do, and also the user itself, the customer itself can do if they want to do that. So there's no programming, it's drag and drop, telling the robot where to look, how to look, where to take. So it's just like teaching an 18-year-old, you look at this, once you get this, you do this, stuff like that. Actually quite straightforward, yeah.
All right, great. Okay, so for the last question, and probably I will have one last question for me. How would you, this is more in terms of data protection, right? How would your solution protect data collected or processed by the robot? What are the chances of outsiders accessing such data?
Okay, so let me explain like I explained to the banks. First of all, the robot doesn't do anything outside of the operating system level, right? The robot sits on the operating system, so you need to you have an operating system that is run. Secondly, it uses the application to do. It doesn't go back to the database, doesn't go underneath the operating system, doesn't. So it behaves just like a human being. So the robot cannot access your system without ID and password. The robot cannot, if you need the robot to do only 2 screens, give him only 2 screens, access ID, don't give him 3. If the robot only do read-only access, give him read-only access, don't give him write access. So you treat it just like 18-year-old, control it just like 18-year-old. He has his own ID, password, his own, what do you call that, access metrics. Next is that the data. That's where the sensitivity come in. You are very right in terms of data. So if you ask the robot to do things for finance and HR, you better have it in the room lockup, right? Because people can watch over the shoulder of the robot and see what the robot is doing, correct? Right? So normally when you want the robot to handle sensitive information, you will put the robot on the PC and the PC should be locked up in the HR room or something like that. So no different from having an HR personnel using the PC, right? All the data is still within the PC. It's not to the cloud or anywhere. It's still within your premise. It's still within your department. It's still within that PC, that hard disk. Also, the robot is operating it. The only thing you want to stop people is to watching over the shoulder of the robot, right? So then you lock it up. Now you also have generic function like operation, taking order and stuff like that. This one you can share. Everybody can share the same robot, no issue. So IT and operation and also reporting or BI, business, and all these people can share the same robot. But when it comes to sensitive, you have a robot for itself. Now, lastly, what about ID and password? You gave the robot ID and password to access your system, right? If it's your internal system, you're not so worried. So basically, your internal system, you give the robot an ID and password, you can always block the thing. But what about external system, like for example, your bank account, your internet bank account, your external system, like your MITI report that you need to submit every week. So all the ID and password that you pass to the robot is encrypted and is stored in the local robot PC so that it cannot be accessed by anyone. So everything is still within your premise, everything is still encrypted. So even the people that can access to the hard disk of the robot PC can't see what's the ID and the password. We only extract it during runtime. After runtime, we destroy it. So it's basically still stored inside a secure place.
All right, thanks, Robin. I think we will need to stop here. And I mean, you shared precise points and explanations to all the questions. I think there's one more question there which is pending. We'll definitely get back to you later via, by a reply to you via email.
I will just reply, no problem.
Yeah, so thank you, everyone. Thanks, Robin, for sharing your experience. All right, and we know if the robot gets naughty, the discipline master is you, call Robin. We'll address that, okay? So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you so much. Thank you for joining us. And I pass you back to Aiman, the organizer. Thank you.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Robin, and also Justin for the presentation and moderating the session, and also to S2. And don't forget to give your feedback through the feedback form that is available on your screen. Please scan QR code, and also you can also click on the link on the chat box to give your feedback. And also please register for the Digital Solution Directory launching that will be held next week on 23rd November. And we will have Deputy Minister Datuk Lim Ban Hong, and to officiate the session, we will have our PC Chairman, Champion of Digital Productivity Nexus, Dr. Wee Chuan Ben, and also Mr. Ong Kian Yu to explain on the Digital Solution Directory and also virtual engagement platform. Thank you so much. I think that's all for today. See you again in the next Tech Talk series that is going to be held on 30th November. Stay tuned and wait for our promotion. Thank you. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you.